You're listening to Modern Male Radio with Jared Zavostosky, right here on LA Talk Radio.
What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Jared Zavostosky, and you're listening to Modern Male Radio. This is all the stuff your mama should have told you and the shit your daddy never knew. And joining me tonight, we've got special guests Domina Dahlia and Parrish Dignam. We're doing a special show, guys. We had a few show reschedulings and and then finally we came up with the brilliant idea to do a show on BDSM. And I have to thank you, Domina, for making this whole thing happen and kind of bringing Parrish and this was kind of a match made in heaven. So I love that I got the two of you guys on the show. And Parrish, you've got a lot going on right now. You've got a lot going on. So why don't you guys introduce yourself and kind of tell us what you're doing and what you're about. You start.
I'm Domina Dahlia. I am a professional dominatrix. I'm a latex model, and I'm just really fucking amazing.
I don't know how I can top that. My name is Parrish, event producer, model, performer, actor now, as of this year, and doing a lot of stuff in the fetish community, as well as fashion and costuming. So it's good to be here.
Yeah. So it's crazy because you put on some of the craziest, coolest events in LA, and I've been to a couple of them. And I mean, this is where you go in LA when you want to impress somebody, and they're like, "Oh, let's get dirty, let's get down." Like, what do you got going on in LA that's like crazy? It's like, oh, you take them to a Parrish party. Yeah. I've seen models in there like, blood and there's like even a metal grinder thing, right? That became like the thing.
Well, we try to find whatever's kind of interesting and out of the ordinary, so when people come, they're like, what's going on,
So by out of the ordinary, they strap a metal plate to somebody's crotch and they grind a metal grinder on it, and it shoots these sparks everywhere. It's kind of like it's probably the coolest stage show I've seen in a long time. So we're going to get to this, but I want to talk about your film later. I want to talk about what's going on in your life, where you're going, because from, I don't know, when we met a few years ago, it was an underground thing, and now it's become very mainstream, and you've got a whole bunch of really awesome events. And then when we met, what was that, a few years ago, it was just, this was kind of a side thing, and now you're a professional dominatrix.
Yes.
And you're killing it, and you're teaching classes and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So let's explain to our audience tonight what BDSM is. And you can Google that, you can Wikipedia it, but why not take it from an expert? So tell us what BDSM is.
Okay.
Ladies first.
I will go first for sure. So there's a lot of things out there right now in the media and what are going on, and it's just really not true. BDSM is the relationship that you have between the dominant and the submissive. So there's a lot of really amazing things that happen between the two, and it hasn't been portrayed quite well in the media lately.
So yeah, like when I think of BDSM, when I thought about it, obviously I have an open mind, but when the first initial thought is, you're like, okay, what does that stand for? Like bondage, domination, and sadomasochism, and then you immediately start to think of like Satanism, and you're like, what does that mean? Like they bind each other and they worship Satan, and it's funny because the whole fetish thing, it's the rubber and the latex, I think, is what kind of is misunderstood about it. I think that the actual, I'll let you guys explain this further.
Well, that's a little bit different. There's fetishists, and we all, like rubberists like myself, we love latex, and like we just love rubber. But there's people who are sadists who they love to inflict pain on another, and there's people who are masochists and they love to take the pain.
Which has nothing to do with actual Satanism.
No.
It's two confusing and completely different things. I Googled this earlier.
No, it's actually like a complete amazing headspace that you can come into. So, for instance, I am actually a lifestyle dom. I have a lifestyle submissive, and he feeds off of me. He gets therapy from me giving him my dominance. So I just take it over.
It's a power exchange between two people, and a lot of people get wrapped up in the whole pain element, So if you want to get to the root of it, it really is about two people exchanging power, and that can happen in everyday life. It could happen when you're at the supermarket and you get cut off in the aisle or whatever, or you're dealing with someone you don't like and they're just trying to like overtalk you and something like that. I mean, in everyday life, you have power and you have submissives and you have people that are just very dominant by nature. It doesn't really end when you go to the bedroom, and I think that a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to deal with these pressures in life. You know, whether it be a busy day at work, you know, or the rules and regulations of everyday life.
You got a great voice. Let's hear it.
To talk about the psychology of fetishism, you know, I think it really is at the root of all of it, because you can have a pair of handcuffs and you can have a whip and you can have some chains, but all those things are material items unless you give them meaning. And, you know, so you're not necessarily a kinky person because you put some handcuffs on, you know, but if the person who puts it on you says, I'm going to put these handcuffs on you and then I'm going to let, you know, have some power over you and you give that to me, then it becomes fetishism. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost in the, well, I'm not into pain and I'm not into getting beat, and I really don't see why people want to hurt each other. But the psychology of it is what's really, I think, people have to understand more, is that everybody has a little bit of fetishism in their life, you know, whether they realize it or not. And if you're a very controlled person and you spend a lot of time, you know, just dealing with a lot of pressure in life, you know, whether or not, you know, let's face it, when you stop at a red light, or, you know, you slow down at a yellow light, or someone says, okay, it's green, you can go. You're dealing with control every day, you know, so on a very low end, but if you have a very busy job and your boss is yelling at you every day and you have a very busy schedule, and for whatever reason you come home from this long day of work and you just can't relax, you know, and you're just kind of pent up, the right person can come to you and say, okay, look, let me give you some control so you can release all that stress, and you can do that on me because I can handle it, because I'm a dominant, you know, or I'm a submissive. So in most relationships you have these kind of elements, but in a fetish relationship it's a little more extreme, and where you would say, okay, I've had a really hard day, you know, can you help me kind of just unwind? And you need more extreme measures.
And does it always have to be, you know, an external forces in the world and I need to take this out, or can it just be I'm a dominant individual and I like to engage this way?
I think that, again, people get wrapped up in the idea that there has to be contact and pain and all these things.
Well, I'm gonna chime in right here. So there's that pleasure that comes with the pain. So as the pain is being inflicted upon that individual, they are not feeling pain, physical pain at all, because it's in a mind. It's if you wouldn't know it unless you actually experienced it.
Okay.
You would have no idea what's happening. You know, the pain goes away because the pleasure is there and the release is there. It's therapy.
Okay.
It's
very much therapy, yeah. You know, and a lot of people need that because they just can't tap into that on their own. So they need a partner, you know, in life, or a dominant, to come and say, okay, do you trust me? And you know, these persons, yeah, okay, I really do think that you're the right person that can come and kind of show me myself in a lot of ways, because you're really helping them, you know, tap into things that they need, you know, and not everyone needs this. And, you know, there's different forms of psychology and therapy, but I really do believe that fetishism is a psychology in itself, to help people just tap into the things that they need to tap into, or get away from things sometimes that they don't want to think about. You know, and escapism is one way of doing it, drugs is another way of doing it, but fetishism in a very pure form.
And it's there's a really bad stigma on BDSM. Thank you. It's not like this is that you think of all day long. You have a normal life. If people live their everyday lives, you know, and they come home, and then every now and then this will come up. You know, lifestyle is not just, this is me being here waiting for you to get home and then you're going to beat me. That's not what it is. But that's exactly what people think, and it's not that way. You know, it's just the mood is right, and you know, it comes up and you just help that person and you feel it. And I myself as a dominant gets the same as the submissive out of.
So what you're saying is that it's not all sexual in nature. It's actually more psychological in nature.
I think it'd be very psychological.
Absolutely.
The sex element and the pain element comes later. You know, a lot of people get into fetishism not even knowing why they're in fetishism, because they're like, wow, you know, this is a great way for me to explore myself and open up and kind of just, you know, give trust to somebody else. And they're like, wow, I really like this. I didn't know, you know, am I kinky? Am I crazy? You know what? But there's a whole community, you know, anywhere in the world you can probably tap into this. But as you mentioned, it's not about pain or even pleasure or even sex. It's about just people that are powerful, and there's people that are submissive.
And trust.
and trust between two people.
He mentioned trust. Trust is an amazing thing because how many people do you really trust like that?
Yeah.
Someone-
Especially to go into a community of people that,
And that's
you
the-
may not
that-
know that well.
That exchange between the two of you, or the three or four, however many, the trust
Yeah.
is an amazing thing that you can let go of and intake, and it's amazing.
And
Okay.
I mean, not all submissives are weak people either.
No, not
Submissives
at all.
actually are very powerful people because
Absolutely.
they can handle things that a lot of people might say, "Wow, I didn't know you can." That's a pleasure thing, In a lot of fetish situations, the submissive is the dominant because they're giving the dominant permission and control over them. So in a lot of ways, they're in control of the whole situation, and
Yes.
you know a lot of this.
I do.
I'm trying to think of a good analogy for you, something more mainstream. There's a movie Fight Club that you got.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry.
Yes,
Who
of
hasn't
course.
seen Fight
We all
Club?
love Fight Club.
And
Exactly.
I'm not going to go into the whole fetishism as fighting.
That's a really good analogy.
But there's a scene where Brad Pitt, the lead character, obviously the alpha
Tyler.
male, is sitting down with Edward Norton in a bar, and he's kind of he's trying to educate him and mentor him and tell him, Edward Norton's very lost. He's like, wow,
Mhm.
I'm lost in consumerism, I'm lost in all these elements, and then Brad Pitt's like, stop, and then it just didn't work, and then they go out in the parking lot, and then he's like, okay, look, this is probably an extreme thing, just hit me. And Edward Norton's like, what? That's crazy. Why would I hit you?
Yeah.
He's like, just hit me. Here's a
Mm.
guy that probably doesn't have a lot of control in his life. He doesn't have a lot of power in his life. And here's Brad Pitt. He isn't
Hit me.
submissive. He's like, I'm a powerful person. I'll take this for you because I want you to feel power for an instance.
Mm.
So Edward Norton obviously, bam, hits him. And Brad Pitt, he gets a little smirk on his face. He's like, okay. And then we get back to you. Now we're getting into the switch, but in the very pure, this is a very, I'm just going to go out there for a second, just to kind of show you that you don't need to be a weak person or submissive to take pain, because
Yeah.
sometimes in some instances, you take pain to show someone else that they are a powerful person, and in a way they can actually get off on that. Now, maybe you can talk a little bit.
Well,
That's
a lot
that's
of-
crazy
a
that
lot
you
of-
bring it to an example on fighting, because now I understand it completely. And whereas before I didn't, but I'm like,
I mean,
okay,
they're obviously not fighting and they don't hate each other.
every 3 months or so, I just need to hit something. And it's like, I've had that in me for years and years. And I can relate to the BDSM thing, because I played around with that a little bit, guys. But the fighting thing that was probably the most therapeutic thing on earth for me, was when I actually started doing Muay Thai and I started fighting and I started competing and training, and people couldn't understand how I liked getting hit in the face or how I liked hitting people back or what that was. And I was like, there's something animal about this that I need. It helps me. It makes me a better person, a more put together person. It's a release that I needed for years. And it's crazy because even to this day, I'll go a year without doing Muay Thai, and I have to go back at least once a year and kind of reestablish my roots and kind of feel that animal thing. So what were we going to say about the switch? Were we going into switching or?
Oh, you should get into BDSM.
Oh my goodness.
No, so you have people who are switches, but I want to touch a little bit more on the submissive. So a submissive is a very structured person. They're an individual. They're not this weak person who just wants to be told what to do all the time and every day.
So they're not a bitch made nigga.
No.
They
Usually, most of the times, they're actually the dominant in their life, their everyday life.
Okay.
And this is why they want that release. And from childhood, sometimes there was things that they saw that kind of sparked an interest in them, and like, hey, so
What
I
happens
like
when you're
that.
a very powerful person
Yes.
and everyone around you is just listening to you because you're in control of whether it be at the workplace or with all your friends or the alpha. If everyone's doing what you want all the time and you're controlling everything in your life, at some point you have to be like, wow,
It's fucking boring.
So it's
It's
interesting. So
just-
do you find more dominant individuals, people that are actually
of
like
course.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
need that receiving?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes, most of my clientele are very powerful businessmen.
Okay. And do you mind if I ask what you do?
I'm a professional dominatrix.
So what is that? What is that? Like if
Whatever they want. So I am here to fulfill a fantasy for them. I am here to do what their wives and girlfriends will not do.
so you smack them around a little bit.
Do whatever they
Okay.
want. No sex.
Oh, okay. So
There's no sex.
I think that so it's definitely a fantasy.
Absolutely.
So you come in and you basically like tie them down, handcuff them.
Depends on what they want.
Spank 'em,
Some
calm
of
'em a
them
bit.
like feet. Some of them like to be spanked. for hours, you
Some
know.
of them probably just want some conversation.
Some of them want some conversation. Some of them want to be dressed up like a woman and fucked in the ass with a strap on. I mean, there's a lot of things. Sorry. I'm a dominatrix, so that stuff happens. But there's a lot of things that happen here, and it's just for their personal needs. I'm providing a service for them. I am their therapist.
Okay, that's cool. And it's funny because you actually have a master's degree in psychology.
Yes.
And that's crazy because her other friend was going to come on here,
Yes.
and she has a master's degree in psychology, and that was one of the big selling points. Was I was like, yeah, let's get a psychologist on here. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, and she does this stuff with me.
And I think it's becoming more mainstream now. But it's crazy because I think in a lot of people's minds it's like this perversion, or it's this, it's like this dark thing, and somebody's got to be wrong with you to participate in it.
No.
And it's like, you've got a master's degree. You could open a practice and actually sit down and listen to people's problems and get hired
Well,
by
I mean,
the state.
Fetishism is a practice in a
It
way,
is.
and people do sit down and go over the problems with the dominatrix, and a lot of times, and I'm also a dom as well.
He's a male dom, I'm a female dom.
So
No, we're friends.
There's lots of doming going up in this motherfucker.
there's a lot of relationships where it has nothing to do with sex, whether female or male. I attract someone who needs help, in some form or other, whether it be sexually or mentally, or like, this guy seems like he has a lot of energy, and in very purest form, energy or vibe or power or alpha, whatever you want to call it. I'm drawn to him because he seems like he has it together, or he has control. I mean,
Yes.
It really is about control. And I need that in my life, so whether I meet or attract a lot of submissives by nature, they're like, they're drawn to me because they need control in their life. So whether I want to be a dominant person or not, my nature is attracting
Yes.
that, and I become that, and I think a lot of men in their relationships may feel that way already, or females even.
Yes.
Not exactly a fetish thing, but power exchange is a way of life, and if you understand that there are people that need power and energy and strength, and there's people that have it, there's always going to be that relationship of power exchange, whether it be a dominant or submissive.
Absolutely.
Or two friends, or a guy and 5 of his buddies going out, or 2 females, 2 men. It doesn't matter,
Yeah, that's-
and
yeah.
if we're all here to kind of help each other,
You
kind
know
of
exactly what he's talking
Yeah, I
about.
put that in the book. Everything that you're doing is every conversation you have is power exchange.
Yes.
Everything that you're doing, one party's giving, the other party's taking. However it is, you and people. The second people understand that, a lot of things become easier in life, because you realize that you're always actively engaged, and you have a choice as to how far you want to take that. Do you want to win this, or do you want to lose this? Because you not doing anything, or you not acknowledging it, not being something, is you losing it.
Right.
So that just in terms of like male empowerment and dominant, and I think that a lot of guys actually feel a lot of pressure.
she's grinning right now.
What?
It's female empowerment as well.
Okay. Yes.
I mean, like, I have the same, as just Parrish was saying, like, I am this cute girl, like a porn star, right? I am a dominant female,
Yeah.
and everybody listens to what I tell them to do, and everybody comes to me for advice, and everybody comes to me to make them feel better.
You have such a perfect way of suggesting things and making it sound like a suggestion when
Well,
it's not.
because I know what I'm talking about.
You're very, very good at what you do. I'll say that. But no, I mean, I didn't want to make this into a male thing, but I mean, this is a male edification dating show. And certainly I think that more women should be empowered and should be in touch with their sexuality. And that's so important, because I think a lot of women are actually repressed, and a lot of women would like to be in that headspace, but they society's conditioned all this stuff around them where it's like they can't. And I think a lot of males are pressured to be more dominant than they truly are. To be
Sure.
this alpha male. What is an alpha male? And it's like, sorry, I'm getting attacked by
Can
a
I
fly.
touch on that for a second? No, I'm going to touch on that for just a second. There's a lot of males that I come to in my profession, and even in just my personal life, they're just afraid to say what they want.
Okay.
And with me, they're able to just open up and be who they are and what they want to be, because I'm, me. I'm taboo, I'll do whatever you want.
We got a
and-
caller. Hold on. Somebody wants to ask you guys a question.
Hooray.
Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up?
How are you?
What's going on?
Good. How you doing? What's going on, fellas?
Not
Hi.
much.
Who's there?
This is Jared Zavostowski. You're on Modern Male Radio. Did you have a question?
I got who radio?
You're on Modern Male Radio. Did you have a question?
Are you trying to order a pizza?
Wrong call.
I think I got the wrong number.
Yeah. All right. You can find us at. We're actually live on the air right now. You can find us
Ask him a question.
at
We should ask him
What are you doing tonight?
latalkradio.com. Go on latalkradio.com, and the video section is who you're talking to right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, latalkradio.com. Have a good night. Well, that was.
You should have asked him something about.
You know, we were talking about like power surges or something, and like the phone or the power company actually called us. Like I forget what it was, but yeah, no, we've gotten some
shit,
weird
how ironic.
calls at weird times. But where were we? What were we talking about specifically?
Nothing. It was female empowerment. No big deal. Your show is male based. Blah blah blah. Go on.
No.
Switches.
I think that, you know, and it's funny because a lot of what we're perpetuating with the Modern Male movement involves females. I mean, that's the subject matter. So we're bringing girls on here. We're giving them a voice and saying, hey, guys, if you want to do this, this is how you get the girl. This is how you're going to have a better job approaching her. This is how you're going to have better luck with her. Let's face it. If you want dating advice, 3 guys sitting in a room hypothesizing about what works for them, it's based on a whole bunch of different factors that maybe you're not there to see. There's perspective and there's context. But you really want to know how to get a girl? Talk to a girl. And, you know, especially with female empowerment, I think it's such an important topic because it's not about this pendulum shift where we've got to go, okay, you know, all these women need to be dominant, men need to be submissive, and there's definitely like, you know, a female rights thing, but we're coming back to this like middle ground where I feel like if men were taught to back up a little bit and maybe not aggress so hard and hit on girls left and right like they're desperate and thirsty, a lot of women would come in the middle and actually be open to communicating, to telling them what they wanted. And I think that there would be a much better dating experience. And you kind of find that in Europe, you know, where guys aren't as like, hey, I got to get your number because you're the last person on earth. And if I don't get it right now, I'm going to fucking die. And it's like, Jesus Christ. Okay, why you really put too much into this. We got another caller. Hold on.
Yeah, the wrong number.
Caller, you're on the air.
Yo.
I think you got the wrong number again, bud.
No, I went to your website. I'm now I'm calling.
Oh, okay. What's up?
What up?
You got a question for us? Do you have a question for Parrish or Domina?
Who?
Do you have a question for Parrish or Domina?
Yeah, I do. What's going on?
We're just sitting here having a little talk. What are you doing?
So, what got you into the industry?
Who?
You.
Me? Oh shit.
Yeah.
That is a good
That's
question.
A good question, yeah.
All right. So, I like 12 years ago, I met my now husband, and he was my boyfriend at the time. Need some help?
No, I got it.
And he had this incredible infatuation for latex models. So he saw this magazine with this beautiful woman on the cover, and she had latex on, and it just gave him a giant boner. So then he met me, and I'm this really hot girl, and he was also into BDSM. So he would be like, hey, choke me, or hey, tie me up, or hey, do this. And I was like, oh, okay. And I would do it, and I was like, I fucking really like to do this, you know?
It's
So
interesting that when, not to cut you off, but when you met him, he was asking for things, saying, hey, do this,
Asking.
hey, do
Asking.
that. Now, that doesn't make us submissive now, does it? Cause
no, because he's very dominant. He is
Right,
the most
but-
dominant person I've ever met in my entire life. However, he was begging for this because that's what he was into. Sexually and mentally, that's what he needed to live his everyday life. And every other girl that he had came across was just like, you're crazy, you're a freak, goodbye. But I am also a crazy freak. So I was like, hello.
But you were in the
So-
closet. You're
No, I loved rough sex. I was always a freak, you know, but I had never had anyone this extreme.
That's crazy.
So-
It was actually your husband that
Well,
got
he
you
was
into
my
being
boyfriend. He was my boyfriend at the
Yeah.
time, and then he bought me latex. So I,
You married him.
dressed
This is a
dressed
man with a
head to
plan.
toe in latex, and then we started going out to these clubs, and then people were like, oh my God, you're beautiful, model for me. Oh my God, you're beautiful, do this. Oh my God, you're so awesome. How about you come and mentor with me, be a dominatrix? And like next thing you know, I've mentored under so many amazing dominatrix
If
here
you
in
like
LA.
it, then you should have put some latex on
And
it.
here I am now, a professional dominatrix latex model, love my husband, we're still married, and he is my lifetime submissive.
That's awesome. That's
It is
awesome. That's
awesome,
awesome.
but he's the whole reason why I'm this now, because I don't even know if it would have come out in that same way.
It's true.
Okay.
And this sheds a good light on lifestylers. You know, maybe you can express more, because since you are a lifestyle.
We are a
dom.
lifestyle.
And that's a lifestyle fetishist is someone who lives the life 24/7. I don't know if that's what
Yes, absolutely.
you do. And that's obviously different than people that might come visit Dahlia and you know.
My clients are completely different from
You know, they might
lifestyle.
just want a session, you know, or
Hmm.
like 15 minutes they want to explore something. A lifestyle fetishist is somebody who chooses to have that power exchange 24/7, and a lot of married couples, a lot of relationships have that, which is really great.
It is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions, bud?
So, damn. And well, that was a very interesting story. I appreciate it, man.
You're welcome. I appreciate you
Hey,
calling back.
I'm calling from Philadelphia, by the way.
That's my
Hey,
home.
Philly.
Hey,
What's up,
Philly.
Philly?
That's my hometown.
I
Yeah,
love Philly.
Yeah.
I'm in a halfway house.
Oh,
Oh.
shit.
Right on.
Well, I hope you get whole way. That will make me real happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
You will.
All right, it's good talking to you.
You too.
All right, buddy. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, bye. I'm
Well.
actually glad he asked that question.
Yeah, it was a great
because,
question.
Like, it's kind of interesting how I became what I am. It's all because that's what my partner wanted. And then,
It's crazy because we're on here, right? And there's so many like little zinging jokes I want to make, and there's so many little things that I want to, and I'm like, but it's the first time I think I ever walked into one of these parties and kind of saw what it was. I knew better. I had a very, very deep respect for it, and I understood that that's what this mattered to these people.
It matters.
Everybody in the room, this mattered, and I knew better than to fuck around. And it's funny because I went to a party with a friend of mine, and he was like this, total bro, like idiot. And he walks up while these people are having a spanking session, and he walks up and slaps one of the guy's ass. And this chick and this dude come out of their handcuffs so fast, and she turns around, grabs a taser, and chases him out of the party. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here stunned watching this, and I'm like, what is going on here? So it's almost a religion for some people.
There's a lifestyle, there's a community. So you have the BDSM community, and then you have what's called vanilla, and it's nothing personal. It's just that you all out there who don't really know what's going on inside the community, you're called vanilla. So like we'll be at a club.
Got some prejudice, some rivalries going here.
We'll be at clubs, and my husband, he is a very dominant man. He's really built. You've seen him.
Yeah.
He's like Superman, and he's extremely strong and a very mean person. However, he dresses like a female. He wears latex, heels, 100%. It's actually kind of strange,
Okay.
But we'll go to clubs, and guys will get the wrong idea and smack his ass. And it's not a big deal, whatever. He smacked my ass, whatever. The guy will run around, and then he'll come back, and then he'll smack his ass again. And there's not a big deal. Then come back, and he'll smack my ass. And he smacked my ass so hard, and I kind of went flying forward, and I was like, did you see that? This guy just totally smacked my ass. And then my husband's like, no, I didn't see that. And then, the guy came back, and then he smacked my husband's ass so hard that my husband kind of moved a little. And he was like, oh, hell no. And he found the guy, and he grabbed him, and he choked him down to the ground, and he kind of put him in his place. And that's where
That works.
the security came in. They stopped the whole thing. They kicked this ass smacker out. But it's a misconception that everyone thinks they can just touch everybody because we're exchanging, It's
Yeah.
I think that is why so many fetishists tend to kind of resort to having their own spaces, not
We recluse.
the
We stick to
dungeons or what have you,
ourselves.
because it's safe, because a lot of people don't understand the boundaries that are in place.
Yeah,
in the power
yeah.
exchange situation. Now, it's a very vulnerable situation to be tied up in a public space. I mean, think about it.
Absolutely.
You're like, you can't stop someone from doing things. And at most club environments where there's alcohol and other things, and I throw events, so I have fetish areas at my events, and it took a long time to kind of perfect it to where we can have those boundaries in place with people that are vanilla watching, and they're like, wow, I want to watch this. I might not want to participate, but this is really interesting to see this. It's kind of, you know, provocative. I'm getting turned on. You know, where's my girlfriend? I hope she doesn't see me. You know,
or I hope she does see.
Or yeah. And then we have a lot of couples that come and say, hey, look, you know, they raise their hand and like, I want to try, you know, can we come in there and can you do that to me? And
So it's a safe environment for them to kind of like
well, that's
explore
why I
it.
do it, you know, because I think, and my clubs may be more of like vanilla fetish, because obviously there are, and I needed that to be that way, because hardcore fetish or more serious fetish situations, I don't think I respectably could put that in an environment where I couldn't fully protect them, you know, and as a fetishist myself, I don't think I want to be responsible for that. So I have professional doms come out to my club. We more of a educational thing, and I set up, you know, some furniture and things where people come in, and when I say furniture, obviously it's not a couch, it's something of a device where but I think that, you know, my events are a gateway to the fetish industry or fetish world. I mean, you need that, because a lot of people, they're like, I'm not going to go to that club where it's, you know, strict dress code and latex. I don't own latex.
No, actually, you do need that.
I'm feeding the scene. It may, you know, one person at a time. Maybe I'm educating them a little bit. You know, maybe they get spanked and they're like, they go home chuckling. They're like, you know, that was so crazy.
It's like a topless bar as opposed to a full strip club.
Well,
you know, and my hope is that they do go home and they're like, you know, that's what happened to us, you know, and I want to explore, go on the website whenever, and then they find, you know, Dahlia or, you know, down the road. But, you know, I really do think it's exciting to be able to introduce fetish to people, and just everyday people walk in off the street, or your buddy that came out to the club, you know, where he's like, you know, I don't know what was going on.
It's for sure. What he's doing is absolutely amazing, because the thing is there's so many people out there who just want to know, how can I get into this? And if you're just a single male and you have a little bit of a fetish, you know, kinky side to you, and you try to get in, you're just going to be thought of as a pervert, and no one's going to let you in, you know, you're just going to be shunned. But someone like Parrish, who's opening events, and you can come in and like meet other people who like it and who are into the same thing, and it's a gateway to get into it's a very you know, it's hard to get into the scene, and so when you actually get into the scene and then you're in there, then everybody's absolutely amazing, and it's like a family.
I mean, you have to want it, and you have to desire to be in there, and then you have to play by the rules and respect it for what it is, you know, and it's interesting to see that, because it's something that, you know, I don't think it takes a lot to pick up on. I don't think it takes a lot of perceptive energy to pick up that this is important to these people, and that there's something going on here that's a little bit, because I mean, I've been to your events, and I've been to a few of yours, but I mean, I never participated at your events, because this was years ago, but it's crazy, because I picked up on something that I didn't feel anywhere else. This wasn't a bunch of people recklessly running around fucking each other. No. It was it wasn't an orgy. It was something else, and it was different entirely.
It's not a swingers event. It's not an orgy. It's a family. It's a community.
Yeah, and it's just interesting to know that that's out there. And so there are delineations between there are like genres of this, because you just mentioned it. There's like a latex fetish community, and then there's a hardcore BDSM.
Well, before we get into specifics, and not to cut you off,
a
fetish can be anything.
Anything.
You know, it could be something that turns you on, or just makes you feel like kind of excited. You know, and it could be the texture of latex, or wearing it, or feeling it on someone else. It could be cross-dressing. Where someone who's not exactly a homosexual, but he's a straight male, but for some reason, I don't know why I like wearing females' clothing. And there's a point in every guy's life where he's like, you know, there's something weird that I like that I might not want to be able to tell my wife. She might divorce me. Or I don't want to tell this girl that I'm in love with that I just met, you know, because I scare her away, you know, and that's the reason why you do what you do. But I would challenge anyone to say, if there's something about your sexuality that you may think that it's not have an everyday place with any partner you can meet, that's a fetish. You know, it's something unique to you that you like, that kind of falls outside the normal, I guess, everyday conception of sex. You know, and you're a fetishist. You know, right away. I mean, whether it be a pair of handcuffs, you know, at the very minute level, is this giving control to someone. you're just kind of like embarking upon something that could go a lot deeper if you really kind of think about it.
Mhm.
A lot of people are afraid to, that's why we have these events and you do what you do, is that I think everybody has from, whether they're in bed having sex and they get their hair pulled and they're like, wow, pull my hair again.
Yeah.
That.
Back my ass. Choke me.
I like that.
You know what's funny is that's actually in the book. I teach people, I put a little thing in there because I don't know what it is, but 90% of the women that I've met like to be choked, they like to be spanked. And I grew up in a domestic, a domestic abusive household, domestically abusive household. So I grew up with a very, very angry father, who beat the crap out of my mom and blah, blah, blah. So when it came time for me to date, I was so afraid of that. And I was so afraid of being overly dominant. And then more and more women wanted that. And the first time I was asked to choke a girl, I was like, she's like, no, don't do it like that.
No,
I'm like,
don't kill me.
I'm like, well, wait, what do you mean? Choke you? What the fuck do you mean? And she's like, no, do it like this. And I'm like that? She's like, no, still too much. I'm like, okay, what about like that? She's like, well, don't be a pussy about it. Just fucking choke me. I'm like, all right. So, and I put diagrams in there on kind of like how to do it properly. And there's definitely a disclaimer about what, if you don't understand it, then really, really don't take it lightly.
There's a fine line between abusive and Dom or BDSM. So there's a fine line. So you have people who are taking pleasure and actually giving to the other person, and then you have someone who's using that as a abusive relationship. So like you can have a man who's abusing a woman. And it's not a power exchange. It's not a mutual consent.
It's a selfish kind of thing. Yeah.
It's a selfish thing. And then you have a different exchange where it's the submissive wants it from a man. She wants this from him, and he's giving it to her, but he's not getting pleasure out of hurting her. She's not even feeling pain from what he's doing from her. She's getting pleasure from it. There's a difference.
And I had those definitions written down. I forget. There's actually a technical term for people who get off on hurting other people, are people that...
Sadist, masochist.
Yeah.
So there's sadism.
Sadism
as someone who gets off on inflicting pain on another person sexually, and masochist is someone who gets off sexually on feeling pain from another person.
Okay.
That's another
yeah, and those are actually in the DSM as actual mental illnesses. Not that I really trust the DSM all that much. I mean, it's collective information from 1,000 different psychologists.
I beg to differ about that because, I deal with those type of people every single day of my life, and I wouldn't say they have a mental disability at all. I really don't think that at all. I think that some of them just like the release. Some of them like it.
When it comes to mental illness, I think that we like to categorize things, and I don't think that it's fair because there are mental differentiations. But I don't like calling it a mental illness. I don't like labeling or categorizing anything. I think everybody has little parts and pieces of everything else. And I was diagnosed with bipolar. I was diagnosed with alternating rapid cycling bipolar at the age of 6, and I was one of the first kids in America to get bipolar. So when I got it, they didn't know how to treat it or whatever. And it was the identification of bipolar that allowed me to go, okay, this is what this animal is. Now I can figure it out and I can beat it. And then once I beat it, I learned how to use it in different ways. It's kind of good to have a capacity for overdrive. Or let's say if there was if you had a different kind of mental illness, there are ways to use it as a strength. And I don't like calling it a mental illness.
You've used it as a strength. I am so proud of you. I really am.
But thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I didn't mean to make you blush.
You made me blush.
But I'm very proud of you, though.
I think that when you label things, you give people a tendency to go, oh, well, I'm like this, and then they give up, and or they think that they're fucked up and they just stop, or they allow somebody to medicate them, and it's like, maybe you don't need medication. Maybe you just need to get spanked a little bit, Well,
because in the industry that I work in, I noticed that people that are in my fetish area don't do drugs, don't drink. No. Their high is off the power exchange again, and just the sexual connection, and it's a thrill ride, And it's very true that I think a lot of fetishists use that as their energy and their source.
Absolutely.
Which is great.
Most of the people that we roll with, they don't do a single thing, And I really agree with the whole therapy type of thing, that I was saying earlier. It's absolutely therapeutic for people who need this. They just need it, they want it, and it's what you do for them. And I, myself, I don't get off on doing this. I get on like inflicting pain. I get off on the fact that I am actually providing a service to them and helping them mentally.
Okay. So what do you guys think about Freud in this whole thing? Do you think that because you guys crave this, there was some developmental thing that...
Everyone wants to blame someone for some
Yeah.
weird thing in their life, you know, and you know, okay, I was an abused child, so maybe that's why I like to be a masochist or a sadist. But it doesn't matter what happened to you when you were younger. I think
There's
it's what you do with
so many people that
it.
didn't
You know,
have anything that happened to them
Yeah.
when they were
True,
younger.
that's
They
true.
just want something when they're
We were
older.
talking about that with the porn industry. We had Capri Giovanni on here and Kelly Holland, Penthouse. And we were talking about that, and I made a mistake. I was like, oh, you know, it doesn't have to do with something that was, you know, fucked up in your life. And she's like, no. She's like, I'm completely normal. I'm from
Yeah.
Canada. And I was like,
Exactly.
oh.
The happiest
Oops.
people on earth, right?
Yeah, no, and I mean, you couldn't imagine it. Canadian
No.
is the definition of well-centered. Just centered people. They're
Really,
fucking awesome.
I agree 100%.
So I want to get to your film real quick, Parrish. It's been wrapped. You just did it.
we just finished it.
Okay.
You know, it's brand new. You know, it probably won't premiere till later this year. But
Okay.
it was exciting because you know, I'm not much of an actor. I got your fly now.
Yeah, I sicked him on you.
You know, I'm a performer by nature, you know, stage performer. So
Yeah.
when I got onto the set, it was definitely a learning curve there. But it was a great ride, and we, you know, several weeks of filming, and it's called Pale Horse, and
Looks great.
Yeah, we have a little trailer out on my Facebook. You can check it out.
I have a big painting of a pale horse,
No,
like
you do.
over my couch. Yeah, and it's like this totally gothic, awesome
What
thing.
about the giant, like, copper horse or whatever you have?
Yeah, that was
You
it.
still have- That's
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
thing you're talking about?
Same thing.
That's not
Yeah.
a painting. It's a giant horse.
What?
What? Yeah.
Oh no, that was the bull.
Oh, the bull.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
giant,
Do you
the
still
giant
have
copper
that?
bull. No, I got rid of it.
Oh, I love that.
It's
You should've
massive. I had no
told me.
connection to bulls.
Damn it.
I got it
I
for an
wanted
ex-girlfriend,
that
and then she broke up with me, and I was like,
I
oh
know.
well.
Just picture your house full of just wild animals and
Oh, his
And
house
skulls.
is amazing. He's very good at decorating.
Gothic
or his
stuff.
girlfriend was.
You know what? I picked up some tips from her. She was the one that introduced me to Z Gallery, and then from there, I ran with it. Did you kill it?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, girl. Leave it to Dahlia to kill it. Cool. Well, I'm excited to see the film. It
Me
looks
too.
great.
yeah, it was great. Directed by Perry Taro, Miramax Productions. So it's
Oh,
gonna
wow,
come out,
okay.
hopefully, you know, it won't be the first and hopefully not my last film that I'm working
No,
on.
no.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, no, dude, it looked awesome. That was another thing that caught my eye. I think I saw you coming up on my Facebook news feed, and I was like, "What? This is awesome!" You know, you look completely demonic in it. It's it's rad.
Yeah.
And Dahlia, is there anything that you wanted to add? Is there? I mean,
I actually do have a couple things. I do have a movie coming out called Rubber Dolls. It's not out yet. It's been in the making for a long time. Sorry. And it'll be out really soon. It's called Rubber Dolls. It's a really cool latex dominatrix film. So it's made by females for females.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
really hot. And then we are actually just kind of breaking ground on a educational BDSM film. So it's going to be really amazing. I am filming the sizzle for it on the 20th of this month and look forward to it. It's going to be really amazing. It's going to teach everybody what they need to know about BDSM lifestyle and what the movie and book tells you is not right, not real. So
Great. So we'll call it like 50 Shades of Not Gray.
we can't actually say the name of it, but we'll say a very popular book in the movie. But you'll see it.
Yeah, because I mean that's huge. Like, I mean, 50 Shades of Grey is so popular, and everybody thinks that it's this. You know, it's a very, very easy way for people to get a wrong idea about some stuff,
Very
or
wrong.
a right idea. I mean, it seems like in the movie, it seems like he was a a sadomasochist or a sexual masochist,
Yeah.
where he got off on hurting people. It wasn't that he
He
liked.
was definitely
the
a
power
sadist,
exchange.
absolutely. But it was more glamorized as an abusive relationship, not a BDSM lifestyle relationship.
I got the
didn't
fly.
get the fly? Damn
It's just
it.
little itty bitty net. And it's just like me. I
I
think
just-
there's more than one. You might have killed the
I
first
just
one,
want
but
people to be like very more open-minded about the lifestyle and like just if that intrigued you, look into what we're doing. And
well,
you'll
you know
be
what?
happy about that.
For our viewers at home, I want to do something to open your minds a little bit. Why don't you stand up and turn around real quick? because you look fantastic in this. She came walking in here and almost gave Sam a heart attack. So you could probably step a little bit over that way. There you go. I don't want the mic to look like it's doing anything inappropriate to you, but yeah, just take a couple spins, and this is great. So
You all love that.
I think that it's great that she could walk in here into a radio station like this, and I think
Well,
that.
how could I not walk in here to your radio station like this?
Well, you certainly made me turn bright red and act like a little boy. I'm taking it back. Okay, sit. Get back in your chair. But
Said.
it's crazy because there's so much judgment and there's so many wrong ideas about certain things, and I think that everybody, you need to have an open mind and just explore things. Like, I remember when I first got invited to a dominatrix party or dom party, I was like, there's no fucking way. But I at the time I was like, all right, well, you only live once.
Is that where we met? Our
Yeah.
party? Yeah. So this is really fucking cool because this is where we met. And,
Yeah.
It was pretty hardcore. What he walked into was probably the most elite, invite-only, exclusive party that he got invited to, and it was really cool because I looked over and I was like, "Who are you?" And it was Jared.
Yeah. Oh, you're making me blush so bad. I'm probably turning
it's
bright
true,
red.
though. It was just because, it was like kind of strange to see Jared in there, but he was there and he fit in and he had an amazing time and he was very open-minded and we had a really good connection since, and we've been friends for like 3
Yeah,
years.
no, you walked up and you're like, oh my God, who are you? I want to lust after you. And I was like, okay, cool. And then you're like, oh, let me introduce you to my husband. And I was like,
He was very nervous.
because I've never been in that environment. But it's crazy because had I not explored that, I would have never met you. And, you've been an amazing supporter of what we're doing here with the Modern Male Movement. And it's such a shame that people define their entire lives by the genre or what they're into. And they have no ability to spread themselves out and go, hey, that person does that, or there's this interesting thing over here. I'm going to allow myself to transfer. What is it?
Transgress.
Well, you're
transgress.
not absolutely necessarily into what I'm into. However, you're okay with it. You're open-minded and you
I think it's fascinating.
you don't look away.
And very
And
entertaining.
yeah, so I mean, it's great. That's why I love you so much.
But see, that's another thing is it's not a tolerance. I'm not tolerating other people's existence. And I think that this is a really, really important thing that guys need to learn is just because you don't understand it doesn't make it wrong. And there are thousands of people out there that have 1,000 different things that they like, and trying to understand that can be one of the most amazing experiences of your life. You end up meeting awesome people. You end up having these experiences. You end up getting to observe things that had you been closed-minded, you never would have gotten to see. You never would have gotten to experience. And that's like probably the biggest underlying theme throughout the book, throughout the message. Like, that's what I want to get across to guys is just be awesome, treat people like they're human beings, and really explore the world. You don't have to be this way because, when you were a kid, you watched this movie, you started dressing like this, now you feel like this, now you're you have to be in this clique to be.
Facebook, or you just Google it, you'll find it.
Okay.
I am found on submittodalia.com. Not yet, next week. Submittodalia.com will be my website. And I am domina_dalia.com for inquiries about sessions. If you guys want a session,
If you want to get spanked.
email me or whatever. I do everything. So domina_dalia.com. And my Instagram is Rubber Dahlia, but that's like my modeling Instagram. So if you want to just see some cute modeling pictures, go to Rubber Dahlia on Instagram.
And they are cute.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we're going to have links to both Parrish and Rubber Dahlia's stuff on my website, methodologyofthemodernmale.com. You can always find any of our guest info on methodologyofthemodernmale.com. Where you find the video, you will find links to their websites and their social media. And you can find us on Instagram, on Twitter, Male Methodology, Modern Male, Just Google it. You know, it's pretty simple. It's straightforward these days. Cool. Well, you guys have anything more to add? Any last thoughts?
That's it. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in to Modern Male Radio.
You're listening to Modern Male Radio with Jared Zavastosky, right here on LA Talk Radio.